In undoubtedly the biggest move to hamper free speech, tech giants Amazon, Apple, and Google kill off social media platform Parler. Welcome to OK Miles. Now, it's important to understand just exactly what these three companies did and how it presents an unprecedented danger to our First Amendment. To do this, we have to understand where these social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter exist within the law with respect to following the First Amendment and how they skirt it. Article 230 of the Communications Act allows them to maintain ambiguity because currently it identifies them as a public forum. Being a public forum means they do not share any legal liability for something someone else posts on their site. If they were a publisher, however, they would be held liable for someone posting malicious content because they determine what does and does not go on their site based on terms and conditions. While a publisher is allowed to decide that, they must have clear guidelines as to what is and is not acceptable. Over the last 4 years, Facebook and Twitter have been free to moderate their content with increasingly vague rules and without facing liability. A quick example, when Twitter prevented the New York Post, the fourth largest publication in America, from publishing an expose on Hunter Biden in the weeks before the election, they acted as a publisher, not a public forum. If Twitter were recognized as a publisher instead of a public forum under Article 230, they would have had clearly established terms and conditions, so legal action would be taken by the Post due to their sudden inability to disseminate content to their followers through Twitter's platform. Parler, on the other hand, is a social platform and does very little to moderate unless something is outright illicit and illegal. They were an avenue for our First Amendment. Following the storming of the Capitol last week, Apple and Google felt it necessary to kick Parler from their services because they felt that people used their unfiltered platform as a means to facilitate it. Now, let's completely ignore the fact that Facebook and Twitter for months was used to organize Antifa and BLM protests, many of which turned violent and burned cities to the ground. Now enter Amazon Web Services, which controls over half of the server hosting capability in the world. In what is looking now to be like a racketeering operation by big tech, Amazon Web Services said they would be ending the hosting services of Parler as well. This organized effort to end Parler's ability to provide not only competition to Facebook and Twitter, but an avenue of free speech in today's digital world is the biggest threat to free speech in my lifetime. We cannot have Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter unilaterally deciding what information is and is not shared with zero recourse in court. I'd ask that you contact your representative and senator and implore them to act by changing Article 230 of the Communications Act and preserve the freedom of the press. I'll leave a link below to help you find out their contact information. If you enjoyed today's show and would like to see more of it, I'd ask that you help us out by sharing this video. I'm Miles Rahimi, and this is OK Miles. I'll see you tomorrow.